We're going to be simulating the Hunger Games. So in the first district, Maximum Chaos, we got Elizabeth Olsen and Deadpool. Then we got President Pokemon. We got 13th President of the United States, Millard Fillmore, and Brock from Pokemon. And then we got Speedrunners. We got Rocket Plays, who's me, and Sonic the Hedgehog. Then we got a complicated team, Weird Al Yankovic and Avril Lavigne. Avril Lavigne saying complicated, and Weird Al did a parody called A Complicated Song. Then we get Space Royalty, Princess Rosalina, specifically the movie version, and Michael Jackson. People would probably know who he is in space if we're being real. Moving on to Team Genius, we got Rocky from Project Hail Mary, because obviously he's super smart. Then we got Michael Scott from The Office, of course. Next is Escape to Another World. We got the Minecraft Nether Portal. And we got Truman Burbank from The Truman Show. Moving on to theatrical drama, we got Amy Lee, lead singer of Evanescence, and Loki from the MCU. The next district is Somehow Still Alive. Peppa Pig and Harry and Marv. Peppa Pig, I don't even need to explain. And then Harry and Marv, how did they survive all those traps? Next up is Action Heroes. We got Harrison Ford and Agent Peggy Carter. Next up is Pirate Legends. We got Robbie Rotten and Zarina the Pirate Fairy from Tinkerbell. And the final district is Extreme Power. We got Jean Grey and then Paul Rudd. I mean, look at this gif. That's extreme power. Now that we have all 12 districts, we're going to begin, see who survives, and what insanity happens. Robbie Rotten stabs Sonic in the back with a trident immediately. Dang. He is a pirate. Nether Portal runs away somehow. Peppa, Rosalina, Zarina, and Jean Grey share everything they gathered before running. We got some girl power going on here. Loki snaps Deadpool's neck. That is brutal. Michael Scott, Avril Lavigne, Weird Al, and Harrison Ford share everything they gathered before running. Peggy Carter takes a handful of throwing knives. Good idea. Michael Jackson moonwalks away. And Elizabeth Olsen cannot handle the circumstances and... oh jeez. That's brutal. President Fillmore severely slices Robbie Rotten with a sword. Me, Harrison Ford, and Jean Grey hunt for other tributes. Loki steals from Michael Scott while he isn't looking. That makes sense. Rocky pushes Paul Rudd off a cliff during a knife fight. Jeez. Truman attacks Peggy Carter, but she manages to escape. Peppa hunts for other tributes. Michael Jackson receives medical supplies from an unknown sponsor. Of course he does. He's Michael Jackson. 5 cannon shots can be heard in the distance. Sonic, Deadpool, Elizabeth Olsen, Robbie Rotten, and Paul Rudd all eliminated. Night 1. Amy Lee, Rosalina, Nether Portal, and Rocket sleep in shifts. Peggy Carter, Harry and Marv, and Michael Scott discuss the games and what might happen in the morning. Peppa stays awake all night. That makes sense. She's tried to in the show, I feel like.
I stayed up very late.
Michael Jackson, Avril Lavigne, and President Fillmore sleep in shifts. Brock cries himself to sleep. It's probably all the rejections he's had, man. Loki tries to treat his infection. Truman is awoken by nightmares. It's probably flashbacks to the show he was on. Weird Al, Jean Grey, and Rocky discuss the games and what might happen in the morning. Harrison Ford receives clean water from an unknown sponsor. Of course he does. Zarina falls into a frozen lake and drowns. Dang. Avril Lavigne, Rocky, Loki, Brock, and President Fillmore hunt for other tributes. Rocket, Peggy Carter, and Jean Grey hunt for other tributes. Amy Lee scares Nether Portal off. That's impressive, scaring off a Nether Portal. Michael Scott searches for firewood. Sounds like the episode Survivor Man.
And this little guy may be Dunder Mifflin Paper someday.
Michael Jackson picks flowers. I respect it. Weird Al sprains his ankle while running away from Harry and Marv. Peppa camouflages herself in the bushes. Wow. Harrison Ford and Truman hunt for other tributes. 1 cannon shot can be heard in the distance. Night 2. Truman lets Harrison Ford into his shelter. Jean Grey quietly hums. I stay awake all night. That's just real life anyway. Rosalina lets Nether Portal into her shelter. Weird Al is awoken by nightmares from Michael Jackson parodying his song Eat It.
Michael Jackson just released a new single called Beat It. It's a parody of Eat It.
Brock receives fresh food from an unknown sponsor. Michael Jackson fends Harry and Marv, Loki, and Peppa away from his fire. Amy Lee, Avril Lavigne, and President Fillmore get into a fight. President Fillmore triumphantly kills them both. Wow. Millard Fillmore with a 1v2, that's insane. Michael Scott severely injures Peggy Carter and leaves her to die. Dang. You can't just keep killing all the women like this. Rocky tries to treat his infection. Day 3. Nether Portal stalks Truman. Okay, Truman's getting stalked yet again. Rosalina attacks Michael Jackson, but he manages to escape. He's got the moves, he's escaping everything. Brock defeats Harry and Marv in a fight, but spares their lives. Good job, Brock. Brock's got as much skill as Kevin McAllister. Rocket camouflages himself in the bushes. President Fillmore stalks Rocky. Michael Scott tries to sleep through the entire day. Fair enough. Weird Al injures himself. Peppa discovers a river. Loki tries to spear fish with a trident.
Give me the Tesseract or I'll gut you like a fish, Casey. What's a fish? How do you not know what a fish is?
3 cannon shots can be heard in the distance. Salute to you, Amy Lee, Avril Lavigne, and Peggy Carter. Night 3. Peppa receives fresh food from an unknown sponsor. Alright. Rosalina tends to her wounds. Nether Portal and Harrison Ford huddle for warmth. Okay then. Harry and Marv quietly hum. That reminds me of a deleted scene.
Harry and Marv are coming to town.
Jean Grey stays awake all night. Michael Scott begs for Loki to kill him. He refuses, keeping Michael Scott alive. Brock screams for help. Rocky goes to sleep. No! Nobody's watching Rocky. That's so sad. Truman and Rocket tell stories about themselves to each other. President Fillmore cooks his food before putting his fire out. Michael Jackson passes out from exhaustion. I mean, he has been fending off everybody with dance moves. Weird Al receives fresh food from an unknown sponsor. Day 4. Rosalina fishes. Loki, Truman, Michael Scott, and Weird Al form a suicide pact, killing themselves. Jeez, dude. Jean Grey begs for Nether Portal to kill her. It refuses, keeping Jean Grey alive. I discovered a cave. I can go spelunking now. Brock catches Peppa off guard and kills her. Dang. Brock's not holding back. Millard Fillmore, Harry and Marv, and Harrison Ford hunt for other tributes. Rocky falls into a frozen lake and drowns. Oh no! 6 cannon shots can be heard in the distance. Loki, Truman, Michael Scott, Weird Al, Peppa Pig, and Rocky. Salute to you. Oh, okay. Night 4, I just die immediately. I die from hypothermia. Alright then. Harrison Ford starts a fire. Rosalina sees a fire but stays hidden. Michael Jackson, Brock, and Millard Fillmore get into a fight. Brock triumphantly kills them both. Brock with the 1v2. I said Brock's not holding back. Harry and Marv and Jean Grey hold hands. Are they doing like a circle, singing songs around a campfire? Is that what's happening here? Nether Portal passes out from exhaustion. Interesting. The cornucopia is replenished with food, supplies, weapons, and memoirs from the tributes' families. Nether Portal decides not to go to the feast. Jean Grey decided the same thing. Brock decided the same thing. Harry and Marv decided the same thing. Harrison Ford repeatedly stabs Rosalina to death. Jeez. Harry and Marv discover a cave. Jean overhears Harrison Ford and Brock talking in the distance. Nether Portal also discovers a cave. 4 cannon shots can be heard in the distance. Me, Michael Jackson, Millard Fillmore, and Rosalina. Salute. Night 5. Harry and Marv decapitate Harrison Ford with a sword. Dang. Nether Portal begs for Brock to kill it. He refuses, keeping Nether Portal alive. Jean Grey goes to sleep. Day 6. Harry and Marv try to sleep through the entire day. Brock runs away from Nether Portal. Jean Grey sees smoke rising in the distance but decides not to investigate. 1 cannon shot can be heard in the distance. Harrison Ford. Salute to you. Night 6. Brock quietly hums. Harry and Marv go to sleep. Jean Grey looks at the night sky. Nether Portal receives a hatchet from an unknown sponsor. Brock pushes Nether Portal off a cliff during a knife fight. Okay. Harry and Marv discover a cave. Jean Grey receives an explosive from an unknown sponsor. It is so over. Salute to you, Nether Portal. Night 7. Brock receives a hatchet from an unknown sponsor. Jean Grey questions her sanity. Harry and Marv search for firewood. Jean Grey collects fruit from a tree. Brock explores the arena. No cannon shots can be heard in the distance. Alright. Night 8. Jean Grey goes to sleep. Brock tries to treat his infection. Harry and Marv receive an explosive from an unknown sponsor. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Brock spears Harry and Marv in the abdomen. It's only Brock versus Jean Grey now. One cannon shot can be heard in the distance. Salute to you, Harry and Marv. I find it funny how it says somehow still alive, but it said that they died. Night 9. Jean Grey unknowingly eats toxic berries. The winner is Brock from President Pokemon. GG's to you, Brock. I said it a while back, Brock was not holding back, man. He was ready to win. Last place was Sonic the Hedgehog. He could not outrun death, apparently. Deadpool. Apparently his healing factor is just gone. So technically the worst team was Maximum Chaos, surprisingly. Well, that was very interesting. Brock got 5 kills. Wow. And Millard Fillmore got 3 kills. President Pokemon team was insane. I don't know how to end the recording. So... Am I turning into the Tasmanian Devil? Apparently I am.